Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger here with the Valeton GP-5. This is my initial impression video. The unit is designed really well. It's priced really well. It's a smart layout, even though it's minimal. You have to use an Android or an iPod to program it. I've used iPods on or Android phone on like my Positive Grid, and I really didn't like their software. For one thing, they include models that you have to pay separately for, so you have to scroll past that if you're like me and you're poor. Uncool. Ultimately, the Valeton Android app, I'm using a stylus, and I really like it. The one thing that I'm not very good at is typing on a phone, and there's a Valeton suite for PC and Mac, so they give you the ability to manually type in on your PC all of the names for the patches. So basically, when you get the unit, you can plug it into your PC, and if you know your patch names for your set list, you go ahead and type those all in, and then you fire up the phone and throw in your amp model and your effects. As far as the sound of the unit, it's phenomenal. This thing also, it loads NAM profiles, Neural Amp Modeler. There's a few different companies making units that load these profiles, which it's a free amp modeling software, and people can perform their own captures, capture their own gear, whether that's a pedal or a full rig. So today I grabbed a Rangemaster treble booster, and I grabbed the download of it and installed it in here. And I've built quite a few germanium and silicon versions of that pedal, and man, it really sounded great. The Rangemaster that I downloaded and installed in here. Also, I can't find my DF7, which is a Digitech Distortion Factory, and that has one model in it that I really love, which is the Boss MT2, the Metal Zone. So I downloaded the MT2 Metal Zone model and installed that in here, and lo and behold, it sounds just like a Metal Zone. So today, I grabbed the Mesa Barbara, a Diesel, an Engel Powerball, Fireball, whatever, Box AC30, 6150, 5150, JCM 900, JCM 800, Fender, 57 Fender, Jazz Chorus, all the usual suspects, the neural amp modeling profiles, and installed those here. I also, yesterday, I went through and installed a bunch of impulse responses for speaker cabinets. Now, the first run of that, some of them didn't work, so I went through and realized there's different bit rates for those. So I corrected my mistake by deleting all the ones that didn't work, and right now I have my collection of all the louder and more unique sounding impulse responses that I like to use. So when you begin to program it, you realize like they give you a lot of options. They cover all the bases as far as reverb, modulation, delay, compressors, boosters. Like they really did a good job with it. The compressors, I can hear them compressing, and the amp models sound phenomenal. The modeling is really good in here. I found myself, I didn't need to EQ a lot. You can just kind of like throw together a patch and it'll sound really great with everything nude, which is how it should be in the real world too. So when you install you can connect it to your computer and transfer over impulse responses and then neural amp modeling profiles. And when they load into here, they call it a snap tone. So the snap tone is one of the blocks that comes before the amp, and just after the amp is the impulse response for the cabinet. So if you're using the Snaptone, the neural amp modeling profiles, it shuts off the internal amp modeling and the cab simulator. So this means when you're downloading neural amp modeling profiles, you want to get the ones that are the full rig, or where they've profiled the amp with the cabinet. It's no problem. Now, neural amp modeling, like a year ago, I tried it, I downloaded it, and it was kind of messy, and it seemed like a lot of the profiles I downloaded weren't that good. Well, I went and did it today, and I started at the top most popular stuff and went down, and everything just sounded phenomenal. So I was concerned about that. I thought I was going to have to dig through a lot of stuff that wasn't that great. Ultimately, the Valeton GP-5 has continuously pleased me every step along the way. When I learned more about what's inside of here and how you operate it, there really hasn't been any unpleasant surprises. I educated myself on the product before I made the purchase. I got to tell you, this is, without a doubt, the best piece of gear I ever bought. And forget the fact that it's only $80. You figure that in, it's just insane. So it's easy to program. It sounds great. The downside of it is, if you were going to buy this and think you could play a gig with it, well, it's limited. Like there's a tuner, but accessing that tuner, like if you set this button to access the tuner, then you have to bend down and turn it to advance the patches. Ideally, if you're playing live, you're going to want this, when you click it, it advances the number of patches. So you could play the first song, click, go to the second song, second patch, third song, click, advance. And if you set it like that, then you're SOL as far as accessing the tuner unless you bend down. And some people, they don't want to bend down at the gig. So they sell something called the MVAVE Chocolate Plus, which is a little strip that has 4 of these foot switches on it and some USB ins and outs. So you can connect this thing and program it for the MIDI to do whatever you want it to do. Up and down patch banks, turn your tuner on, and then another button to maybe for a boost. So, and then an expression pedal as well. So I've seen people on the Valeton fan site, people are building themselves little boards that have an expression pedal. They have the MVAVE Chocolate, they have the Valeton GP-5, and then maybe they'll have another pedal, like a $40 IR loader, so they can run custom IRs as well as neural amp modeling profiles. And I got to tell you, you know, the built-in impulse responses that come with the selection, huge selection of amps. I think they give you 30 amps. They're excellent. I think that they're consistently, I liked them consistently better than what came with my new XMG30. I have that all set up with patches. I'm going to use a wet, dry, wet rig. This is going to be the dry or the center of the monitor, personal monitor speaker for me. So the guitar cable comes out, goes to a splitter with 2 outputs. One will go to this that goes to a mono amp with a 12 that points right at my head. Then the other cable coming out of the splitter goes to the MG30, which goes to the PA. So I can program this to match what's in my MG30, and I did that. I plugged it in via USB onto the PC. I went through the names of the songs in the set list. After I had programmed that all in, rather than typing the names, I don't like typing on the phone. So I did all that on the PC, which is cool. They give you that option. as it is right now, they don't give you the option to edit the patches via PC, which I kind of wish they did. I like using a mouse better than I like using a stylus on the phone. But once I was done programming the patch names, I switched over to the phone mode. And really, I found that I really do like the app. There's been other apps I've used in the past that I'm not so crazy about. This one, like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised every step of the way with the Valeton GP-5. And when you consider the price, this is something Petey highly recommends. As a guitar player, you can plug your headphones in and use it as a practice tool, and it's loud. A lot of times the headphones are quiet. This thing has a volume control on it, so you can set it how you want it. But setting it at noon, be careful, because it can get pretty loud. And I like that. Ultimately, I don't think that I am going to purchase the Chocolate Plus. I'm going to use this on the setting where the switch advances the patches numerically. And I will get to know this more. I went through and I made patches. Then I filled it up with impulse responses. And then today I went through and made just a couple patches, but I tried out a bunch of the neural amp modeling stuff. And like I downloaded a pedal, which is a treble booster, a range master, and I built those germanium and silicon. I kind of know about those pedals. And yeah, it's a range master in here. And then I also downloaded a Boss MT2 Metal Zone, and I was pleasantly surprised because it's a metal zone. All of the other neural amp model profiles, there was one that was called Metal, and it was advertising that it was like these sounds are like mastered album sounds, and they were. Like the Dimebag sound, it's really scooped out. It's got that solid state Dimebag sound. And I realized, like, yeah, maybe I would use that for variety, but it's not something I would lean on. You know, there was a Mezza Barbara, which is an Italian high gain amp. Man, that sounded sweet. And then I really like Vox AC30s, so, and the Fender stuff sounds really good on here too. So, super high recommendation for the Valeton. It's hot tone, Valeton or Valeton and Sonic Cake are all the same company. And there's something called the Sonic Cake Pocket Master, which has a built-in battery, and it's a little plastic guy with a little bigger screen, and that's kind of like the sister unit to this. I'm guessing it performs about the same, and that's even cheaper. That's $55. So the GP5 is a real solid, heavy little pedal. Appears to be quality, well made, sounds phenomenal. They really don't skimp on the internals. When you're going through the effects, sometimes on these things, you feel like it's a little light. Like the MG30, they really don't give you a real lot of options. I didn't get that feeling so much with the Valeton. Like, they give you a couple extra things. You know, there's like, instead of one of each, there's two of each in a lot of cases. They really covered their bases well as far as the modulation, the delays, the reverbs, even the compressors and the equalizers. So it's a wide selection. Everything sounds really good in it. Even if you don't have to tweak so much, you can just choose the amp model, leave everything at noon, and it's going to sound pretty good. Now, you might be able to get it to sound a little better by tweaking to your taste, of course, but I like that idea. It's not like the old days of modeling. So they've come a long way, and this is a high watermark when it comes to guitar effects technology. Highly recommended pedal. You thought I was going to say piece of kit, didn't you? I don't say that. I don't say methinks either. People that say methinks and piece of kit, I just want to do bad things. Trust me, really bad things. Methinks, Petey wants to invent a machine that can slap people through the internet. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to cut you loose. Thank you for joining me on this one. People at Valeton, man, hats off to you. Congratulations. I had heard about Tonex and I tried it and I thought, man, this is a step up. And I'm telling you, from what I found out from researching Tonex, I'm really glad that this came around the time when I was looking to upgrade, because I could not be happier with the GP5. These are my initial impressions, and I'll be back updating, keeping you guys informed as we go along. I guess it's worth noting there's 2 factory, what do they call them, firmware updates for this one. People generally have said avoid the 1.06 firmware. I'm running 1.3. I heard there's issues with the Bluetooth functionality on the 1.6. So I'm going to wait and see what they do. Honestly, I don't see them doing much more. But every time I say that, they end up doing 5 more firmware updates, adding stuff and fixing stuff and improving stuff. So don't listen to Petey. Unless that part about picking yourself up a GP5, because you will thank me later. In the meantime, you guys, don't forget, hug your pets, and peace.